Hey there, Heather, and hello, welcome back everybody to Mike's Book and Booze Club. Today we're starting off with the very first episode of actually making a cocktail from the Lyrics and Libations Ultimate 90s Cocktail Playlist Recipe Book. This is a book written by Reader and Baryajas and features a bunch of 90s cocktails, 90s themed cocktails rather, based on various songs, albums, and musical artists from the age. They are sorted from year to year, so we'll be starting in 1990 with our first recipe from the book called Nothing Compares to You. Now, Nothing Compares to You is actually a song that was written by Prince for a group called The Family, which appears only on their first self-titled album, The Family. But the version that they're referring to in this book is actually performed and rewritten by Sinéad O'Connor, and it was so popular in 1990 when it was released that it actually earned her a Grammy nomination. Now, she turned down this Grammy nomination rather famously because she wanted to protest the idea that music as an art form was something that could be commercialized, and in effect stood up to the idea of that by not allowing the Academy to judge her art as marketable, because that's really what the Academy does. On top of that, this book actually makes a very specific mention of the fact that Sinead was very, very much protesting towards any cause she deemed worthwhile. Pro-LGBTQIA plus rights, pro-women's rights, pro-civil rights, and famously or infamously, depending on whether or not you're an asshole, ripped up a picture of Pope St. Paul, I think, while performing for SNL to protest the church's lack of recognition for sexual abuse in the Catholic Church. She was, I think, the last great musical martyr of the modern music age. Somebody who really stood by what they made music about and used that to influence their performance and meant that for the sake of the music, not for the sake of the money. Sinead is unfortunately not with us anymore, but it's honestly really great to see this at the front of the book because it acts as like sort of a memorial to her. So let's raise a glass and toast slancha to Sinead O'Connor with a Nothing Compares to You. Let's talk about ingredients. For this cocktail, you're going to need whiskey, elderflower liqueur, Bolivar, or some other kind of floral bitters. I'm using cardamom today because it's what they had at the store, and I think it'll work well here. Spice Up Your Life syrup, which is a chai tea syrup they teach you how to make in the front of the book. The recipe for that's down below. And a pinch of salt or saline solution to add towards the end. I'm going to use salt because we're shaking this and it will have time to dissolve, but if you were stirring a cocktail, I'd recommend you use brine. You'll also need a lime wedge and cinnamon stick for garnish. Let's go ahead and shake it up. We'll start by adding a pinch of salt. We'll come behind that with 2 ounces of bourbon, 1 ounce of an elderflower liqueur, 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lime juice, 2 to 3 dashes of your choice of bitters, finally, 1/2 ounce of our Spice Up Your Life syrup. That's all our ingredients. Let's grab some ice and give that a shake. We will cap that up, tap that down, give that a shake for 10 to 15 seconds to chill and combine. For serving, we're going to grab a chilled rocks glass out of the freezer. I'm going to dump the full contents of our shaker into the glass. We'll top this up with a little bit more ice. And finally, we garnish. Now, this is the only substitution I've made for the recipe. They actually call for an edible flower garnish, but I live in Michigan where we don't grow or source those things. So I'm going to switch to doing a cinnamon stick instead. Put that down right there. We'll also do a nice little lime wheel, just like that right there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a Nothing Compares to You. Prop the cinnamon stick up so it doesn't look so rough. Need to get a picture of that. All right, let's go ahead and give that a taste. Slancha. Ooh, whoa. Ooh, ooh. That takes some interesting turns. Generally speaking, aged spirits tend to fare better with lemon than lime because the tartness of lime kind of plays poorly with the tannins from aging things on wood. It's not impossible to blend something like whiskey with lime, but generally speaking, unless you're talking like a daiquiri where you're using an aged rum, because the character of rum plays really well with lime, I don't think they work as well as lemon and whiskey do. This, though, is an exception, because what I think is happening here is the additional acidity from the wildflower liqueur, or elderflower liqueur in this case, is actually helping to bring those two together and give them some extra character. It both sweetens and gives an additional bit of acidity to it that doesn't make them so staunchly parallel but not crossing over. Now they're angled and they kind of go like that, you know? It's gonna be a fun zoom around my face when I do this. Go, go, Power Rangers! So yeah, while I was initially skeptical of putting lime with whiskey, I do think it works really well here, and I'm actually really impressed with the way that the chai spices are flowing with that well too. I think my choice of bitters here was a really good choice because it's sort of playing into the additional flavors you would find in chai tea, traditional chai. That flavor, that profile works so well with the spirit and the other flavors here that honestly, I think this is a really, really good, like, fusion kind of drink, but it doesn't really strike you as fusion because it's not overtly saying it is. It's just a really, really good drink that pulls flavors from a lot of different places. Excellent, excellent work. This is going to be a very fun thing to sip whilst I edit. Thank you all so much for tuning into this episode of Mike's Book and Booze Club. If you enjoyed it, click the like button and subscribe to catch the next one. We're going to be continuing from the Ultimate 90s Cocktail playlist for the entire duration of this particular season, and then we will move on to future seasons with different books. I've got a whole arrangement back here that we're going to have to work through. Some of these are really fucking long, so we'll have to see how that goes. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day. Sláinte. Raise a glass to you, Sinead. Goodbye.